此不过逆修问，这里莫非他的执念？定，此后引来二子天罚，须以天威抹杀。
非凡，逆则仙，唯我斗心，难。顺为遂我肉身意，天威要去，替咱去硬扛。喂，灭道不知羞耻，
莫非是他？
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Alrasta channel. Here, I will share spoilers for Renegade Immortal episode 121. Remember, this is based on the novel, so it won't be 100% similar to the Donghuastoryline version. Okay, without further ado, let's dive right into the story. When Wang Lin struck the drum repeatedly, reaching the 12th, 13th, and 14th beats, it created a tremendous shock that seemed to shake the heavens. The tremendous power of the drum's sound did not spread outward, but instead returned to Wang Lin's body, triggering a rare process called marrow cleansing. Black liquid oozed from the pores of his body, indicating that the impurities within him were being forcibly cleansed by the energy of the ancient drum. The commanders-in-chief stared with envy and amazement, for this marrow cleansing was the highest honor and treasure of the Sky Demon country, usually only granted to natives or those who had rendered great service. After the cleansing process was complete, Wang Lin opened his eyes with a painful new understanding of the path to Ascendant. He realized that his cultivation had been stunted all this time because his Dao heart was not yet perfect. It remained bound by the deep sorrow over Li Muan's death, which had become an eternal wound in his soul. To reach the Ascendant level, he must completely release that sorrow through the sound of the drum, which essentially meant choosing to forget the woman he loved most. In those final, decisive moments, Wang Lin's hands trembled violently above the drum as he faced the most difficult choice of his life: to become a god by forgetting his love or to hold on to those painful memories forever. Wang Lin was silent for a long time with his hand hanging an inch above the demon drum, trapped in a torturous inner dilemma between power and memories. He realized that the absolute requirement to perfect his Dao heart and reach the Ascendant stage was to erase all the sadness in his heart, which meant he had to completely forget Li Muan's existence. For other cultivators, discarding emotions was a shortcut to godlike power. But for Wang Lin, forgetting the woman he loved was tantamount to treating Li Muan as nothing more than a cultivation tool. The high-ranking officials of the Sky Demon country watched tensely. The Heaven Commander understood that this was the most difficult mental test for a cultivator, while the others looked down on Wang Lin's hesitation, thinking that he was just pretending to be mysterious. In deep contemplation, Wang Lin finally found an enlightenment that shook the principles of the universe. He refused to follow in the footsteps of ancient cultivators who discarded their emotions in order to avoid the laws of heaven. Instead, he chose the more difficult path of defying heaven by retaining his feelings. He concluded that forgetting sadness was a form of escape, not true resistance. The decision to hold on to the memory of Li Muan while pursuing power triggered a powerful aura that split the clouds in the sky, causing the Heaven Commander to tremble as he realized that Wang Lin's determination resembled that of the legendary Demon Emperor. Wang Lin then concentrated all his sorrow and intent into his right palm, preparing to strike the drum 15 times, not with an empty heart, but with a heart firmly defying fate. The sky above Sky Demon City changed color drastically, filled with dancing silver lightning, signaling that the universe was responding to his determination. This phenomenon attracted the attention of powerful entities from thousands of kilometers away, including a mysterious figure in an ancient black tower who praised Wang Lin's courage in taking a path that defied heaven. All eyes in the square were fixed on Wang Lin, who now looked so majestic under the lightning strikes. Seeing Wang Lin about to complete his 15th strike, Jin Waku, the man in gold, was overcome with panic, fearing he would lose his arm according to the bet. Desperate, he broke the rules and unleashed all his cultivation to launch a sudden killing attack from behind Wang Lin. Jin Waku created a giant fireball like the sun in his hand, turning the surrounding area into a fiery hell, and intended to destroy Wang Lin before the young man's hand touched the drum. He bet that his past merits would save him from severe punishment if he managed to quickly kill the foreign cultivator. However, before the deadly attack hit its target, a far more terrifying force intervened. A cold snort echoed from the void, originating from a figure in a distant black tower, directly striking Jin Waku's soul. In that instant, Jin Waku's golden armor shattered into pieces. The fireball in his hand went completely out, and he vomited fresh blood due to the invisible energy shock. The dirty attack was easily thwarted by the supreme entity overseeing the trial, leaving Wang Lin standing upright, untouched, ready to complete his final step. Amidst the mounting tension, a terrifying miracle occurred unnoticed by the audience. Jin Waku, the man in gold armor who was about to attack, suddenly trembled violently and vomited blood. His cultivation was instantly destroyed by the cold snort of the mysterious, invisible entity. The Heaven Commander-in-Chief, who thought his attack had injured Jin Waku, looked confused. However, Wang Lin, who was nearby, realized the truth that his enemy was now nothing more than a helpless cripple. Without wasting this golden opportunity, Wang Lin ignored his shock and immediately grabbed Jin Waku's weak body. With murderous intent overflowing, he used his enemy's body as a club, brutally smashing it against the surface of the demon drum. The impact was a tragic end for Jin Waku. Wang Lin channeled all the sorrow and power of the soul transformation stage into his right hand, striking the drum and piercing Jin Waku's physical body. The 15th drumbeat sounded with great force, creating a recoil that instantly blew the golden-clad man's body into a mist of blood. There was no mercy. Even Jin Waku's soul was shattered into pieces by the sound of the drum, completely erasing his existence from this world. The bet that had initially only called for an arm was now paid for in full with a life, making Wang Lin a terrifying figure in the eyes of everyone who witnessed the brutal but legitimate execution. Jin Waku's death was immediately overshadowed by the extraordinary achievement that had just been created. Wang Lin managed to sound the demon drum 15 times, a record that surpassed anyone in the history of the Sky Demon Country. The spectators who had previously looked down on him now regarded Wang Lin with deep respect, an absolute honor for the strong in the demon spirit land. The commanders-in-chief, including the Heaven Commander, stared at the young man with mixed feelings of admiration and shock, realizing that the figure before them possessed a determination that defied logic. Wang Lin stood tall there, no longer as a stranger, but as a new legend who had conquered the kingdom's most difficult test. The 15th beat of the drum brought death and spread a wave of heart-wrenching sadness throughout the city. The sound merged with the rumbling of thunder in the sky, creating a strange resonance of nature in which the thunder seemed to cry out in lamentation. Wang Lin's deep sadness over Li Muan, whom he refused to forget, was now felt by every creature in Sky Demon City, causing thousands of people to shed tears unconsciously. Wang Lin had succeeded in perfecting his Tao heart not by forgetting love, but by embracing that pain as part of his path of cultivation that defied fate. However, Wang Lin's success in maintaining his feelings triggered consequences far greater than just a drum test. By choosing the path of defying the will of heaven that required the severing of emotions, Wang Lin had awakened the wrath of the true heavenly Tao. The sky above the capital turned pitch black not only because of the clouds, but also because of the arrival of the true divine retribution. This was not ordinary lightning created by a cultivator, but a sanction from the universe that descended to destroy someone who dared to defy the laws of nature, signaling the beginning of Wang Lin's life and death battle against the will of heaven itself. The natural phenomenon occurring in Sky Demon City turned out to be not just a local storm, but the arrival of a mysterious red light from the void of the universe, moving at a speed beyond reason. The arrival of this light carried such a terrifying aura that it was felt by the strongest existences on various planets, such as the All-Seer on Tian Yun planet, Ling Tianhu in the De Lu sect, and the Blood Ancestor. Those who were meditating were immediately startled, realizing that divine retribution was descending upon the demon spirit land. This was a rare event that signaled the birth of something that greatly defied the laws of heaven, causing the old monsters to wonder who the madman was who dared to provoke the wrath of heaven. Meanwhile, Wang Lin's body, floating in the square, was undergoing an extreme metamorphosis after the 15th drum strike. He was undergoing a sacred process called facing one's Tao, a collision between the Tao heart and spiritual energy that was an absolute requirement for stepping into the Ascendant stage. It was a test of death where failure meant complete annihilation. The sky, which had previously been filled with lightning, now turned into a sea of blood-red clouds that pressed down on the entire city. The mysterious young man on the boat smiled bitterly, realizing that Wang Lin had to face the wrath of the heavens alone because of his courage to retain his human memories and refuse to sever his worldly emotions. The red clouds in the sky spin faster and faster, forming a giant vortex that emits bright red lightning, turning the atmosphere into something like the apocalypse. Wang Lin stares at the sky calmly but with determination, remembering his 700-year cultivation journey that has always been marked by resistance to fate, from the creation of the restriction flag to changing Li Muan's fate. When the red lightning finally struck down like a meteor, a strange phenomenon occurred where snow began to fall in the middle of summer. Each snowflake contained the pure killing intent of the sky that wanted to erase Wang Lin's existence from the world, creating a chilling atmosphere in the middle of a sea of red flames. Not waiting passively for death, Wang Lin activated more than 3,000 life seals and released his flagship restriction flag. A thick black fog containing millions of prohibition spells shot into the sky, forming a giant tornado to challenge the red lightning strike. The collision between the power of the sky and Wang Lin's spells created a tremendous explosion that made the ears of the city's residents bleed, and many spectators faint from the shockwave. However, the power of the sky proved to be too absolute. The black tornado was easily destroyed by the red lightning that continued to advance as if unstoppable, splitting Wang Lin's defense in two like torn paper. In that critical moment, Wang Lin showed his madness by pouring thousands of celestial jades from his storage bag to form a small hill under his feet as an unlimited source of energy. Absorbing the pure energy like a madman, he unleashed his signature attack, Finger of Death, but this time he combined 100 attacks into a single 10-meter-long jet of black light. The black beam shot upward, colliding with the red lightning, symbolizing Wang Lin's fierce resistance, declaring that even though his body could be destroyed by divine punishment, his determination to defy the heavens for the sake of his memories could never be extinguished. Wang Lin's attempt to hold back the red lightning with 100 fingers of death proved insufficient, forcing him to transform thousands of life seals into slaughter energy that formed a giant black dragon. However, when the dragon was also destroyed, Wang Lin played his last trump card by transforming all the spiritual energy of the sky in his body, and the jade rock hill beneath his feet into pure demonic energy. He unleashed the demonic finger technique, which contained all of his determination to rebel against the heavens and his emotional attachment to Li Muan. The black light from the demonic finger shot out to challenge the red light from the sky, creating a violent collision between the will of heaven and the determination of man that shook the entire foundation of the city to its roots. The explosion from the collision of these two great powers flattened the city square and threw the spectators, forcing the demon generals and commanders to retreat to save themselves. The Heaven Commander-in-Chief, who was closest to the center of the incident, threw a bottle of medicine at Wang Lin in admiration before retreating. Thanks to the combination of the restriction flag, the slaughter dragon, and the demon finger reinforced by thousands of jade stones, the red lightning of divine punishment was finally neutralized. Wang Lin stood pale but unharmed, looking at the sky warily because he knew that the sky would not stop with just one attack when it intended to kill someone. Sure enough, the red clouds in the sky did not fade, but emitted an even more terrifying atmospheric pressure, making the mysterious young man on the boat realize that divine punishment had escalated into heaven's might. Realizing that Wang Lin was already locked onto by the sky's target and couldn't be moved, the young man split himself into 8 shadows to move all the civilians out of the capital using mass teleportation magic. He acted quickly because he knew that this second wave of attack was no longer lightning, but absolute pressure that would destroy anything that refused to submit. The second punishment descended in the form of a red cloud that slowly lowered inch by inch, carrying millions of tons of weight that crushed the space and time beneath it. Wang Lin felt his body being squeezed by the world itself, his bones creaking under the invisible but deadly weight. Unlike explosive destruction, this pressure worked slowly and tortuously, forcing its target to kneel and surrender to fate. However, amidst this extraordinary physical torment, Wang Lin remained standing tall with an explosive aura of unyielding defiance, refusing to bow his head even slightly in the face of the arrogance of the heavens. The pinnacle of divine punishment occurred when the red clouds suddenly descended 3 inches at once. The tremendous pressure instantly reduced the entire imperial palace and the buildings in Sky Demon City to fine dust, leveling thousands of years of history in the blink of an eye. Amidst the vast field of rubble, only the demon drum and Wang Lin remained, appearing small under the sky that seemed to be collapsing onto the earth. However, just as the destruction reached its nadir and the city had vanished, an equally powerful wave of anger suddenly erupted from the depths of the earth, signaling the awakening of an ancient power disturbed by the sky's tyranny in its territory. The destruction of Sky Demon City by divine punishment provoked the wrath of the underground entities. 5 white-haired old men, the ancestors of the land, emerged from the depths of the earth with thin bodies but ancient auras. They were not the least bit intimidated by the pressure of the sky, instead mocking and challenging it with harsh curses as they floated in the air. However, heaven's might did not tolerate insults. Red clouds descended lower, bringing pressure that crushed the entire capital into dust and forced the 5 ancestors back to the ground. Wang Lin himself was buried up to his chest, his bones crushed and blood oozing from every pore, but his eyes still burned with an unyielding determination that refused to submit even as his physical body was on the verge of total destruction. In the critical moment between life and death, an ancient voice echoed in Wang Lin's mind. The voice claimed to be an incomplete ancient demon, a guardian spirit residing in the demon drum and the creator of Dragon Lake. It explained that Wang Lin's courage to face divine punishment head-on instead of avoiding it was something feared by the heavenly Tao, as it was reminiscent of the ancient order race that had once challenged the heavens. The ancient demon revealed that Wang Lin was the perfect candidate to receive its power, because he possessed the pure aura of an ancient god, unlike the natives or ordinary cultivators whose bodies were unable to contain the power of the ancient race. An agreement was reached between Wang Lin and the ancient demon. In exchange for help in restoring his body and strength to fight the divine punishment, Wang Lin had to collect 8 sacred relics from other countries in the demon's spirit land so that the ancient demon could become whole again. Immediately, a powerful force enveloped Wang Lin's broken body underground. A miraculous healing process took place. His shattered bones fused back together even stronger, his severed meridians reconnected with new resilience, and his flesh recovered completely in the blink of an eye, infused with a combination of heavenly spiritual energy and abundant ancient power. The 5 ancestors who had just crawled out of the hole were shocked to sense a very familiar aura emanating from the hole where Wang Lin was buried. They recognized it as the aura of their ancestor, the ancient demon, whom they had worshipped all this time. Wang Lin slowly floated up from the ground, his body now immune to the pressure of the sky that had previously crushed him. His hair fluttered without wind, and his closed eyes radiated an eerie calm, accompanied by waves of demonic energy so dense that it seemed to condense the air around him. As Wang Lin continued to rise into the sky, challenging the red clouds, the demonic energy behind him condensed into a 1,000-foot-tall giant illusion. The illusion took the form of a dark purple-skinned figure with 2 horns, emitting an aura of darkness that made the sky rumble with anger. This was the manifestation of the ancient demon, now united with Wang Lin. The demon's rebirth amid the wrath of divine punishment signaled a new chapter of resistance, in which Wang Lin no longer fought as an ordinary human, but as the heir to ancient powers ready to tear the sky apart. Under the seemingly collapsing sky, the ancient demon inside Wang Lin's body took control and launched a counterattack called Tao Destruction. Together with Wang Lin, the ancient demon raises its hand and strikes the red clouds, creating a shockwave that not only destroys the clouds, but also triggers a violent earthquake that flattens an area of 50,000 kilometers. However, the sky does not give up so easily. A beam of blood-red light called Scarlet Heavenly Light descends, targeting the ancient demon. Greedily, the ancient demon leaped and swallowed the light, its body shattering and regenerating tens of thousands of times in a single breath before finally neutralizing the final attack. Exhausted, the ancient demon told Wang Lin to meet him at Dragon Lake in 3 months, before disappearing into green smoke. After the ancient demon's departure, Wang Lin immediately teleported 5,000 kilometers away, realizing that his domain and spiritual energy were beginning to merge, signaling the start of the critical phase of ascending to the Ascendant level. He used a special token to enter a safe, mysterious cave, the best place to undergo the life and death trial without external interference. Inside the cave, Wang Lin took out the remainder of his sky jade and a precious item given to him by Senior Zhou Yi, the Ascendant crystal. The red crystal, about the size of a fingernail, emitted an aura of heaven's might, and Wang Lin swallowed it as a catalyst to perfect his leveling process. Meanwhile, in the ruins of Sky Demon City, the 5 old ancestors scolded Yun Dun, the mysterious young man who drank with Wang Lin, and threatened to seal him in Dragon Lake if he failed to rebuild the city within 3 months. Yun Dun, who turned out to be their grandson as well as the emperor or an important figure in the country, frantically mobilized demon troops from all over the country to begin a massive reconstruction. They were also ordered to pick up the chosen one, Wang Lin, after the 3-month deadline expired, according to the decree of the ancestor ancient demon. In a distant and hidden place, a mysterious figure in black armor in an ancient tower observed Wang Lin's progress with malicious interest. He felt it would be a pity to simply absorb Wang Lin after seeing his great potential, which was even aided by the ancient demon. However, his greed for ascendant power made him unwilling to let go of this rare opportunity, planning something terrible for Wang Lin, who was in deep meditation. Inside the quiet cave, Wang Lin was immersed in his meditation, absorbing spiritual energy relentlessly while the Ascendant crystal began to form a second heart for his origin soul. Time passed slowly but surely, bringing Wang Lin closer to the fundamental transformation from human to Ascendant cultivator, a step that would change his destiny forever in the demon spirit land and attract the attention of unexpected friends and enemies in the future. The process of reaching the Ascendant level was a deadly test called Seek Tao in the morning and die by night. Wang Lin burned countless amounts of heavenly spiritual energy as fuel to purify the life and death domain within his origin soul, which was now wrapped like a cocoon. Invisible flames burned fiercely within his body, melting the domain into pure origin energy. However, this liquid struggled to crystallize, and if Wang Lin failed at this stage, the spiritual flames would become real and burn his body and soul to ashes in an instant. In the critical moment when his efforts were about to fail, and the flames began to spread uncontrollably, the Ascendant crystal given by Zhou Yi moved from Wang Lin's Danshan. The crystal, which symbolized Zhou Yi's obsession with love, entered the cocoon of the origin soul and sacrificed itself. It shattered and melted, absorbed by Wang Lin's origin energy, providing the final boost that was needed. Thanks to that sacrifice, Wang Lin's Ascendant crystal was finally perfectly formed, growing from the size of a fingernail to the size of a pinky finger, signifying the success of the most dangerous stage. 10 years passed in the blink of an eye. In the outside world, Sky Demon City had been rebuilt as it was before, complete with its palaces and large squares, but the legend of Wang Lin was still being talked about. Yun Dun, the young emperor, along with the 5 demon ancestors, was confused because they could not find any trace of Wang Lin throughout the demon spirit land, as if he had vanished from the face of the earth. Meanwhile, Mo Lihai, who had now become the Earth Vice Commander-in-Chief, often stood pensively in his garden, longing for his mysteriously disappeared friend. Inside a quiet cave, Wang Lin's origin soul cocoon finally cracked and broke after a decade of meditation. From within the fragments, a new origin soul emerged, no longer transparent but solid like human flesh, with an Ascendant crystal slowly spinning inside. This was the true form of an Ascendant cultivator, where the origin soul and domain had completely merged. The cocoon fragments then melted and were reabsorbed as the final nourishment for his new, much stronger soul. Wang Lin opened his eyes for the first time in 10 years, emitting a light that was brighter than ever before. After 700 years of a cultivation journey filled with blood and tears, he finally succeeded in reaching the Ascendant stage. making him one of the strongest and most respected existences, even in high-level cultivation countries. With his new power, Wang Lin was ready to step out of the cave to fulfill his promise to the ancient demon and face the new destiny that awaited him in the outside world. Moments after Wang Lin successfully reached the Ascendant stage inside the cave, a giant black vortex mysteriously appeared, followed by a bone arm clad in armor that attempted to attack him. The arm was controlled by a mysterious entity from an ancient black tower that had been waiting for this moment for 10 years, intending to steal the pure origin energy that had just formed in Wang Lin's body. The entity targeted new Ascendant cultivators in the demon spirit land, because only they possessed this pure energy before it completely merged with their bodies, something the ancient creature desperately needed to restore its power. Wang Lin, who was always vigilant, immediately used his cave token to teleport away, but the interference from the mysterious arm caused him to be thrown to an unfamiliar location in the Fire Demon country instead of his intended destination. The black vortex continued to pursue him like a ghost, appearing wherever he was without being detected beforehand. Wang Lin tried to fight back with the Finger of Death, now strengthened by his Ascendant cultivation, but the attack was only able to momentarily resist the demonic energy of the armored sleeve before a strange, wind-like force tried to forcibly pull his origin soul out of his body. Thanks to the powerful Heart of Slaughter and his sky-defying determination, Wang Lin managed to resist the soul pull and force his origin soul back into his body. Realizing that his opponent was no ordinary enemy, and that he still needed time to stabilize his new cultivation, Wang Lin chose to retreat and teleport again to a remote area filled with thousands of magical restrictions. He easily penetrated the defenses thanks to his skills, and was surprised to find a secret field full of rare, celestial ascension fruit plants behind the illusion of restrictions. However, his hiding place did not last long, as the bone arm reappeared, forcibly destroying thousands of restrictions to continue hunting for Wang Lin's origin energy. So what happens to Wang Lin next? Let's wait and see in the next video, guys. Oak, thank you for watching until the end, and don't forget to support this channel with likes, subscribe, and comments. That's all from me. Bye.
身为碎我有深意，天威小气，体坛虚意。